I love a bitch who kinda crazy. Fuck me like she love me, but she fight me like she hate me. In the end, that shit don't faze me. I fuck her like I hate her, but she know that she my baby.
Hey, this looks so professional.
It really does. This shit look dope.
Yeah, so let's talk about your albums.
Okay.
Which one is your favorite?
Tendencies.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's just like, it means a lot to me because it's like, that's the first album that I created like as a professional musician, if you want to call it that. But basically what happened is just like, I quit my job and I was like, fuck this, I'm just gonna make music. And I was like recording people for 30 bucks an hour out of this like super ghetto ass apartment, like probably condemned now. I hope nobody lives there, but and it was just like a crazy time in my life, and I was broke as fuck, but like I didn't care. I was just making good music, and yeah, I don't know, but I like that album a lot, man. Like, it means a lot to me. And then not only that, but that's the album that I put my mom on and shit that I was telling you about. So It's just, it's definitely the most meaningful, I would say, for sure.
Does your fan base know how far you've come?
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, the day ones do, you know what I mean? They for sure do. And I think, but a lot of times, especially with fans, it's weird because it's like, they think that you're more successful than you are sometimes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I went back to my hometown and people would see me and shit, and they're like, I don't know, they would, like, we'd be out at the bar and they'd be like, oh, Gringo could afford it, you know what, to buy the round, and I'm like, fuck y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like, they think that it's something completely different than what it is, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah, they were expecting me to be driving Lambos or something like that. I don't know what they were expecting.
Oh, I completely understand and can relate, because there are a lot of people out there who think that you're on this spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just go, you can go anywhere, you're untouchable.
Yeah.
Things like that. And it's not, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes, I heard one time Steve Harvey said something about it takes a lot of time to make a lot of money. Yeah,
that's a good, he's got a lot of good quotes actually. I want to get his book.
Oh, he has a book out?
Yeah, he has a book, and somebody was just quoting it the other day on Twitter, and they were telling me I need to read it, so I want to check that out.
Oh, no, you'd be, like, heavily inspired.
For sure.
I think a lot of people in the industry can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much, like, people who work, like, a 9 to 5,
mm-hmm.
but people who, you have to work every single day, every single thing that you do.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you know this, that everything you do every single day pertains to your career.
Facts. Yeah, literally everything. Like, and I tell artists that come to the studio here that all the time, because, well, number one, they think like, oh dang, it's $50 an hour at the studio, he must be making bank, but they don't realize like I might have to sit here for 60, 70 hours a week in order to get 30 paying hours in, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, you have to be there, because if you're not there when they need you to be there, then, you know what, you might miss out on that money. But at the beginning of things, when you're building, it's just so important to, like you said, you're always working. If you go out for dinner and you meet somebody while you're out at dinner, like, you don't know who that is, you don't know what type of connection that could be, you know what I mean? So I definitely agree with that.
Work ethic. Where do you find the motivation for your work ethic?
I'm kind of just like figuring it out now, and that's just like, just do shit that makes sense, and then you don't get quite as drained out, you know what I mean? Like if your goal is to make money, then just do the shit that makes money. Like, whatever you're doing that makes money, do that harder, you know? Like, so many people are like, artists will start to get a little buzz, and then they're like, well, I gotta go on this tour now, and then you end up wasting your time on a tour, and there's 20 or 30 people on every show, and you're just like, it burns you out. You don't even want to grind no more, because you just grinded, you did a whole fucking tour, spent all this money, did all that for nothing, you know what I mean? Whereas, if you would have just kept doing whatever you were doing, if you're popping on YouTube, keep dropping to YouTube, just keep building that up, and like, when people are ready to pay you for a show or something, they'll hit you up, you know what I mean? Like, or when you have enough of a fan base that you can book your own show and it'll be successful, you'll know, you know what I mean? Because people will be hitting you up, like, when are you having a show? That's when you book the show, you know? Too many people just try to force things, and I think that makes it makes it very hard to keep going. It burns you out, you know what I mean? So
do you feel like you've taken a good path as far as your career and understanding what to invest in and what not to invest in?
I mean, kinda. Like, I I think that shit's on track the most that it's ever been, like right now, like specifically these last few months, but I think that I made a lot of dumbass mistakes just like anybody else. I've wasted a lot of time, like, you know, like I was 17 thinking that I was gonna get famous by messaging 1,000 people a day on Instagram. You know what I mean? Like,
what?
Yeah, well, yeah, just like I think that, you know, like when you're an artist and you're young like that, because I didn't have any money either, so it's like paying for promotion wasn't an option. So I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna spam people all day. It doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna get anywhere like that. You might get a couple fans a month, but is it really worth them hours of sending your music out? So it's like I'm the older I get and the more mature I get, the more I'm learning like there's a right way to do things, and the right way usually requires way less effort. You know what I mean? So I'm learning still, but like whatever, you know. I don't know if I feel like I've made a lot of wrong choices and a lot of right ones, and I'm just learning. You know what I mean?
Do people know your age?
I don't know. I'm 25 for anybody that doesn't know. But I think most people know. When I was younger, people used to argue about my age. It was never like a secret or nothing like that, but I was just like I remember like there's YouTube videos I got of when I was like 18 or 19, and people are like he's 16, he goes to school with my brother, and then people are arguing with them like, no, he's 28, blah blah blah, like, and like nobody had any fucking idea. But yeah.
Right. So your fan base, what do you share with them? Are you someone who's like, I just share everything and whatever, or you're like, I know that this is going somewhere, so I do need to keep things to myself?
Okay. I do try to keep some things to myself just because it's like, not like, especially like people, like certain friends or like relationships or stuff like that, because it's like, not because I want to share it with my fans, but there's no, like, if you go to post something on Twitter or Instagram, there's no only send to real fans of mine. It's like, it's gonna go to everybody, and so it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I deal with a lot of bullshit because I have somewhat of a following and because of what I do, and it's like I just don't want other people getting involved in that because of me, you know what I mean? Because it's like I grew up like this. Like, I've had a fan base since I was like in high school and been doing shows and this and that, getting paid at least sometimes since high school for this shit. So it's like I'm used to it, and I know not to take it personal, you know what I mean? But like, not everybody else, you know, understands that. Like, some people just really take that shit. Like, I got hood ass homies that it's like I can't bring them to shit like that because they'll take some shit way too personal. You know, like the smallest, somebody will step on their shoes and now it's a problem, and then it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not even worth it.
Right. How long do you want to do this for?
Shit.
Forever, as long as...
Yeah, you know, like, because I don't even know what this is. Like, that's what I was saying about doing what comes naturally. Like, last year, I was up in Nebraska, and I was just doing shows to make money and shit, and I did, I don't know, probably like 10 or 12 shows or some shit just around Nebraska, Iowa, just like, I don't know, just different cities and stuff. And then this year I come down to Texas, but I don't even want to do a show now. Like, so what I was doing for money, and now I'm running the studio and shit, so what I was doing for money a year ago off this is completely different from now. And next month, if something else comes up, then shit, it ain't even really gotta be music related. Like, I'll be open to something else, but I'm just, music is the thing that I'm best at, so it just, that's what I'm on right now, you know what I mean?
New music. Are you working on new music?
I'm always working on new music. And honestly, I guess I'll break it with you, but I don't even know. I'm probably not supposed to say nothing yet, but a guy named Ken Lewis, who is he's a multi-platinum and Grammy award-winning mixing engineer. He worked on all of the lights for Kanye. He worked on Forest Hill, what is it, 1414 or 2014 Forest Hills Drive for J. Cole. He worked on Good Kid, Mad City. He worked on To Pimp a Butterfly for Kendrick. Like, all types of shit. He's gonna be mixing at least a couple of singles that I have coming up, which is insane. Like, this dude has, I think it's like 98 different platinum songs that he's been a part of and shit. And he ended up hearing my music because he runs an online audio school, and he wants to use some of my music for tutorials to like teach other people how to mix and shit. So yeah, so that, I'm really looking forward to that as far as new music goes. And I'm not working on any albums or anything. I'm just gonna keep giving people singles because it's like, every time I make an album, it's like the first song has the most amount of views, the second song has a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less, all the way down. So I'm like, I'm gonna just give them one song at a time. You know what I mean? Because everybody will listen to that first song. So.
Right. Do you think an album though says something? Like it's all a story, right? Do you feel like maybe an album is a part?
Yeah.
Like a moment of your life?
Yeah, you know, for sure. Like we were talking about tendencies, like that project as a whole, like means a lot to me. And I'll make an album still, but I just don't want to release an album until people want that from me. If most of the people out there that I'm trying to reach haven't heard of me before, then you don't want a whole album from somebody you've never heard of, but you'll check out a song. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to keep building that fan base until it's just a little bit bigger before I start dropping full-bodied projects again. When
is your next single coming out?
I don't even have a release date for it. I wish I did. I'd be lying if I said I did, but I'm gonna
2020.
Yeah, it'll be soon for sure. But I'm waiting on, like I said, that guy Ken Lewis that I'm gonna be working with. I'm kind of waiting on him, and he's kind of doing us the favor. So I'm not trying to rush him by any means. You know,
right,
I'm just happy to be here. You know, so but I'm definitely gonna keep dropping on SoundCloud and YouTube. I should have something out on there next week again.
Collaborations.
Shit, I don't know. Whoever's watching.
It's gonna be Joe, Colin, and Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Jeremiah.
I've been working with quite a few artists here in the studio that have come through. Actually, a dude named Travesty I did a song with recently. Did a song with my boy Pt.3 called Crevassier. I'm trying to think. I know I did one with Mac Mula. He's been coming in here a lot. And as far as production goes, I've been producing for a lot of artists too. So there'll be a bunch of stuff with my name attached to it coming out. But yeah, no planned features right now that I'm planning on dropping myself. So. Are
you real big on credit?
What do you mean?
Credit,
I have horrible credit.
No. No, credit as far as like, oh, I wrote that song. Or I made that beat, put me in the credits. Are you big on credit? Because I know that there are artists like that like want credit for everything.
I think like on a local level, for a lot of the artists that I work with, it's like a lot of the artists that I work with, my fan base is slightly bigger than theirs, so to them it makes sense to credit me because that's more eyes on their shit, you know what I mean? But I think that I think that you should always give credit, but especially if you're a bigger artist and you work with a smaller artist and you put something out, you should definitely be giving them credit because, you know, if you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's an extreme exaggeration, but if Drake used one of my beats and never told nobody that it was my beat, I'd be fucking heated, you know? Like, I could get my money off that and that would be cool, but that's not near as valuable as the recognition and the future work that you could get off that.
Right. Because you think about it, like, people will look back at that record and think, wow, like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think back, like, this person created it.
Facts, yeah.
And you want that recognition.
And even I'm sorry to cut you off,
no,
but
you're fine.
even with like bigger producers and stuff, like I don't want to say any names because I don't know exactly. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus or whatever. But a lot of these bigger producers, they're just a big producer will sign 5 small producers. The 5 small producers will make beats. That big producer will go tweak 1 or 2 things and then pass those beats out to big artists and then get the credit for producing that song. And then to me, I'm just like, I mean, I understand the smaller producers willingly signed into that deal, but it's just like, man, that's just, because the wrong people are getting credit. You know, you hear a song, you're like, I love that beat, who produced it? You Google it, that's not actually the guy that produced it. You know what I mean? So, it's kind of fucked up.
Because I'm nervous to talk about it.
Why?
Because, like I said, I've actually worked with some people in that aspect.
Yeah, it's common, yeah.
Yeah, for the entertainment industry, it's wild. Okay, so how do you deal with shady promoters?
Man, fuck, I try not to, you know what I mean? Like, anytime that I do, it's an accident, you know what I mean? Yeah, well, I mean, like, if I know somebody's a shady promoter, I'm not gonna fuck with them, that's what you know what I mean? But, like, just like, I don't know, people just do some wild ass shit, bro. And for some reason, I don't know what it is. I don't want to stereotype or whatever, but like, promoters, y'all gotta get your shit together. You know what I mean? Because it's always the fucking promoter. Like, there could be 1,000 people involved with something, and it's gonna be the promoter that fucked it up. You know what I mean? Like, Which I get, because there's a lot of great promoters and they don't get the credit that they deserve either. When you go to a concert and it goes on flawlessly and you have a great time, nobody ever goes and thanks the promoter. So those dudes deserve a lot more credit, but more often than not, man, the promoter's fucking up the show. You know what I mean? Or just fucking up the vibe or something, man. I just have a lot of bad experiences. You know what I mean?
Who did you run?
Well,
a lot of people?
Not really. It's just 2 people, but it was back to back, right? So, well, not exactly back. Okay, so I did a show. I headlined a show here at Warehouse Live in Houston, and it was the middle room at Warehouse Live, the studio room. So to me, it was a big deal. You know, my first headlining show in Houston like that. And then these 2 rad-ass dudes named Kelby Dishman and John Link, they fucking, Kelby hit me up, and he had been like, I mean, I don't want to put all his business out there, but he had been going through some things in the past, like with drugs and shit like that. And I told him I didn't want to work with him if he was on drugs and shit.
You're talking about Miklo?
Yeah, Miklo, yeah. So,
okay.
So he hits me up and he's like, man, I've been clean. I'm working for some company selling shit door to door. I want to book you a show down here in Houston. Mind you, I'm in Nebraska at the time.
Right.
And I believed him though, you know, because he sounded like he was doing good and shit. So I was like, cool, we can do that. So we have this show and I come all the way down from Nebraska for it and shit. And I had these openers named New Trill, which shout out to New Trill. They don't fuck with me, you gonna find out why, but they're still good dudes and shout out to them. But so they sold like a lot of tickets. I don't know how many it was, but it was over 50 pre-sale tickets to open for me and shit. And they were supposed to receive 50% of that income, right? And then so we do the show. For some reason, they turned in all of their ticket money. Instead of just turning in the half that they owed, they turned in all of the ticket money because Miklo told them, oh, you got to turn it all in and then we'll pay you. And I don't know why he told them that, but he did. So Miklo paid all of the other openers. Like, he handled the money with them. You know what I'm saying? And, except for them. And then when they came looking for their money, he told them that I had their money, which I didn't. I didn't even have all of my money. They never released the info of like the bar sales. They never released the info of how many actual tickets came through the door. I never saw any official info. I saw a piece of paper with handwritten numbers on it. And I sat there and, because after the show, Miklo's like, let's go handle the money tomorrow. Let's go celebrate tonight. And I'm like, nah, bro, like, you staying with me. He stayed in my car. I wouldn't let him out of my car and shit, because I'm like, you're not running off with this money. Like, get John to link up with us and let's count this money out and shit. So I link up with them, and it was just fucking sketch as fuck. And then they sit there and argue with me. They're like, we owe you this much. They tried to only give me like $200-300 or some shit. And eventually I talked my way up to like $700, which I'm probably owed more than that. But at that point I was just happy to get some money and get the fuck out of there, you know? Right. So I finally get that money. And I leave, and then the next morning, I start getting calls from New Trill saying, oh, we haven't gotten our money. Kelby said, you're supposed to pay us, blah, blah, blah. It's your fault. I'm like, bro, Kelby fucking paid everybody else. Like, every other opener Kelby handled. I had to fucking fight to get my money from him. And then they're like, blah, 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 this and that. So then I go to fucking Kelby Dishman's house, which I could get you this video, too, if you really wanted. If you really wanted some fucking content for people. New Trill's money.
What happened to New Trill's money is New Trill gave me $200 the night of, which defined their percentage, which is why they didn't get paid beforehand like the other guys, because they decided they weren't going to sell any more tickets. At the end of the night, we were counting out money. We got down to the split, and it could have slipped my mind and your mind and John's mind that we hadn't paid that out. So once the money was paid out...
Hold on, it wasn't my responsibility, so it didn't slip my mind because it wasn't on my mind in the first place. I wasn't supposed to pay them.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed. But the money to pay them still came out of your money and John's money.
Right, so I paid them personally out of my own pocket.
And then I did as well.
Right, okay, so...
I sent the money as well. We both... I covered John's part of this.
And so did you.
With my 125, and then you covered your 125. So we still made it right in the end. I'm sorry that this happened. This isn't how I conduct business. But
hold on. Was I made aware that New Trill was being fucked over when I walked out with $589?
If it had slipped our minds, then no, you weren't aware.
Okay, thank you. But I went to his house after this, and...
This is Kelby's?
Yeah, Kelby's apartment, yeah. I went to Kelby's apartment, and sat him down in front of my phone, and it was just me and my girl with me, or it was my girl with me. It wasn't like I was with like 10 dudes or nothing. It was just me and my girl. I sit him down and I videotape him, and I'm like, what the fuck happened to Neutral's money, basically? Like, explain to people, because I'm tired of going back and forth, and they're saying you said this and I said, so I'm sitting in front of him and he explains, oh yeah, we fucked up with the money, that was our bad, and this and that and this and that. And then before I leave, there's an $800 check from John Link sitting on his fucking counter, but they're sitting there telling Neutral that they lost money and they don't have any money and this and that. Well, how the fuck is this dude writing you an $800 check? You know what I'm saying? Like, so the whole thing was shady. So that left a bad taste in my mouth, and fuck that guy. If you're in Houston, don't fuck with him. And then the second situation, I ain't even gonna say the dude's name, but it was up in Omaha, and it wasn't nearly as serious of a situation, but it was enough to just leave a bad taste in my mouth that I was just like, you know what, like, fuck this, you know? And
right.
And that's when I made the decision, like, the next time I do a show, I'm gonna book that hoe. I'm gonna decide who does what, or if anybody's gonna help me, it's gonna be Chris or some shit, you know, somebody that I trust. And that's just how it's gonna be, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't want to do that until I can sell somewhere else out, you know what I mean? Until I can book Warehouse Live and put 600 people in there or something like that. So
right.
Until then, it ain't worth the headache, man.
Damn. No, it's wild because I've actually dealt with them.
Yeah.
On the sideline, and let me tell you, it wasn't I can't say much because also like
I understand.
He works with,
I understand.
We're cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, god damn. Was that like your last
That was my last show in Houston.
Okay, was that the last time you worked with him?
Oh fuck yeah, that would be the last time I ever worked with him.
And how long ago was that?
It
was the first
May of 2018. No, see, here's the thing is I knew him like years ago. Like, before he was even Miklo. He was just fucking, I don't remember if he had a nickname or whatever, but he was in the EDM scene, and he pretty much got ran out the fucking EDM scene because he fucked everybody over, got slapped in public by, who the fuck is that dude? I forgot. He's some big ass dude that used to work at East Down Warehouse, because I noticed something was fucked up because I went to East Down Warehouse one time. Now it's Houston Underground. It used to be called East Down Warehouse. And I went in there one time and I was cool with the owner. The owner had seen me perform and put me on a Paul Wall show there and a bunch of other. He showed me a lot of love. His name was Adam. And he went to introduce me to his friend. He's like, I got this guy I want you to meet. It's the dude that slapped the shit out of him, but I can't remember. It's the dude that slapped Kelby, but I can't remember his name now.
Was it over money?
Something Dean, I think. But no, it was because Kelby was running his mouth, but he had already fucked so many people over. That's what I'm saying. Like, he would tell me, oh, come to this show and you'll get $150, and I'd show up and there'd be no money there. Or he'd be like, come here and you can open for this artist, and then I'd show. He booked me to fucking host a EDM show with Spag Hetty on Spag Hetty's first tour, and then I'd show all the way up to this show, been promoting this show, like trying to sell tickets to this show and shit, and then Spag Hetty's like, no, I can't have a host during my show. Like, I'll host my own shit. And like, it's just always little shit like that. It's like, why'd you lie to me and tell me to do all this shit, and then knowing I'm gonna come here and not be able to host it, or knowing I'm gonna show up and not get paid, like, why even do that? You know what I mean? Right. So that's why I stopped fucking with him in the first place. But I also knew he was tweaking and shit. So I was like, you know, like, that's probably why he's just out of his mind or some shit. And then when he called me when I was in Nebraska, he said he was sober and shit. And I always thought, like, yo, if this kid got sober, he's got a lot of fucking potential. He's got a good mouthpiece, you know what I mean? If he don't fuck people over, he'll be good, you know? And then so he called me, said that he was sober and all this and that and this and that. And so I believed him. That was my mistake, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't down here. And then, yeah, so then that's how I reconnected with him. Because I already said fuck Kelby Dishman before that, because I was tired of fucking showing up to shit, not getting paid, showing up to shit, not being able to perform, whatever the fucking case is. Right. And so I'd already said fucking once. That's
wild, because you're not, I mean, I have my own experience with him, and you're not the first person to tell me that you've had this experience. Oh,
a lot of people have. Dude named Dank Sinatra out in Austin. He's a dope ass artist. Y'all check him out too. But he created a group called Grunge. Something grunge, it was just called grunge, I think, grunge rap or some shit like that. But Dank created it, And then I didn't know that Dank created it this whole time, but when I was doing that show in Houston, the whole time we were booking it, Kelby's like, yeah, you got to be a part of this grunge rap group that I'm building, this and that and this and that. And then like 6 months later, I see a post from Dank, and he's like, oh yeah, he stole, this dude Kelby stole grunge rap from me, and this and that and this. And I'm just like, that dude's just a fuckboy, man. Like,
what do they mean by that? He stole it? Like he like signed it and
like he basically like. So Dank Sinatra had this group, this whole concept, this whole like aesthetic called grunge rap, and he was like making a group with it, and Kelby just like made his own group called grunge rap, used the same logo. Like I don't know all the details. You'd have to ask Dank, but like he stole it. And as soon as I saw the post, I instantly believed Dank because I just know the type of person Homeboy is. You know what I mean? Like,
you know who Johnny Dang is, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so how do you feel about Johnny Dang working with the most shadiest person in the industry?
See, I don't know how that ended up happening, but like I do know that some people are willing to do literally anything to get into a position like that, and you know what I'm saying? I don't think that Johnny, I think that, you know what I mean, there's pieces of shit among us everywhere, and some of them have great jobs and some of them have, you know what I mean? So like whatever, like one day he'll see or he won't, or maybe Kelby will never fuck him over because he knows that that's the hand that feeds him, but I don't know. You know, whatever their deal is, I don't care, man. I think, you know what I mean? I don't know. I fuck with Johnny. Paul Wall, I actually helped him book his first date on his last tour up in Omaha. Because a buddy of mine booked that whole tour and hit me up for an Omaha date, so I lined that up for him. But
wow.
So like I fuck with Paul, I fuck with Johnny. You know what I mean? They're cool, but there's just one dude that works for them that I don't like. It's nothing against them. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, just because everyone else's experience with him is one thing doesn't mean Johnny will have the same experience. I remember when the whole situation was going down with another artist in Kelby. I just like, I don't know, I was just like, what the hell, when I saw that he was like doing stuff with Johnny. I was like,
yeah, everybody kind of was, because that, I told you I pulled up to his crib and I took that video of him, and he's like,
did you post it?
I didn't post it, my friend Trevin did. I'm gonna get you that video so you can include that, but the whole video, because he's trying to like backpedal, he's like he's like, oh yeah, we both must have forgot to pay New Trill. And I'm like, no. It wasn't my job to pay New Trill. So how did I forget? He's like, oh yeah, you're right. It may have slipped my mind. And I'm just like, it's just like backpedaling the whole time. But like, I've heard of so many artists that had the same type of problem. And it's just like, fuck them.